Hello viewers, it is your favorite spoiler from the recap room. For more updates, stay tuned and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Brian is unable to fulfill his vow to assist Julia in leaving Castle Leathers. His inability to follow through isn't that shocking, to be honest. He is willing to endure a beating for freeing Julia, but not as severe as he would receive for assisting his father's unborn kid in escaping. Davina discovers them as Brian assists Julia in leaving the castle. She is unable to let Julia get away with revealing that she is expecting Simon's child. After this, Brian realizes he can't bring Julia along, so he modifies his mind. She must remain if she is pregnant Simon's child. Julia is devastated, particularly because she came so close to meeting Henry. We are aware that Henry and the Grants will be at Beltane, and their reunion was hoped for. Instead, just as Simon summons Maisri, his seer, Julia is trapped in the castle. Outlander Season 2 introduced us to the older version of this character, and now we get to meet the younger one. She seems to be unaware that Julia is lying about the child's paternity and instead concentrates on the fact that it will be a boy. However, it's important to note that there are two yolks when Julia smashes the egg into the water. Maisri notices that the first is a girl with blue eyes and curly brown hair, which is unmistakably Claire. Given that the second yolk shows a boy, it seems likely that Julia and Henry will have a child. She continues by saying that this boy will have great power. The fact that he will become king indicates to Simon that the Fraser King prophecy is accurate. He doesn't want to hear this, but Davina tries to clarify that Maisri didn't explicitly state that the kid Julia is carrying is Simon's. Simon makes it apparent that he believes her, even though she points out that Julia was pregnant when she came. Julia will be freed from all responsibilities to ensure the baby's safety and protection, and she will be killed if Davina brings it up again. Henry, meantime, yanks Ned Gallen aside during the Beltane festival. He shares that Isaac received a letter from Simon Fraser in an attempt to raise worries regarding Ellen's reputation. Simon obviously didn't think Isaac took the worries seriously, but it appears that he did. Henry will search for any indications that Ellen's reputation is in jeopardy because he wants to make sure it is. Well, Ellen had a solid reputation as a virgin before she met Brian. While Malcolm is assisting with the preparations for Beltane, let's hope Henry doesn't discover that Brian and Ellen are handfasted and sleep together. Yeah. Henry watches the maidens dance around the stones at the episode's conclusion. Ned shares that he did have a lover in Edinburgh, but she is no longer with him. Since then, he hasn't found love, and since Outlander, we know that he is single, implying that he will never find love again. Henry tells him that this is why he must continue to search for Julia. The Beltane festival must be the big event. Ellen chooses Malcolm to be her king following a dance to determine the May Queen, in which she wins. Although Brian and Myrta did volunteer to be considered, Brian would have been aware that Ellen had no other option but to select Malcolm. Myrta finds this decision difficult and decides to get wasted and pout rather than take in the remainder of the celebrations. Brian was able to speak with Ellen briefly during the dance. They make plans to meet covertly, but they are unaware that Myrta has been following them. His desire to drink increases when he sees the two of them together. However, after being battered by Archbug and his men, Myrta concludes at the end of the episode that he is better off with Jocasta, which makes it evident why Jocasta was so antagonistic towards him in Outlander Season 4. Brian and Ellen, on the other hand, flee into a castle's ruin. In order to finalize their romance, they plan to hand fast to one another while they are there. But Ellen will have to figure out how to leave Malcolm's marriage. It's obvious that he wants to be with her, and he won't take rejection well. What will his guys do to Brian if they find out? We've seen how they respond to smaller threats. Now that one couple has consummated their relationship, it's a fitting way to wrap up the season's first half. We now watch to see if Henry and Julia can work things out. Thanks for watching, stay tuned for more updates.